Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Self-Obsessed podcast. It's that time in the season again where we do a dilemma Q&A episode. I went on Instagram and I asked you guys to ask me literally anything, and we're going to get into so many different topics today so that I can answer your personal questions and dilemmas to help you on your journey to becoming self-obsessed. In this episode, we're going to be discussing dilemmas around career, general life, letting go of the past, embracing a new path. We're going to be giving some book and podcast recommendations and so much more. Before we get right into it, be sure to check out all of the links below this podcast episode. There you'll find the Instagram links for my personal Instagram and the Self-Obsessed podcast Instagram, where I always ask you guys on questions or current problems that you're facing, not only for the dilemma Q&A episodes every season, but also just to make sure that I'm providing as much value with every single episode that I put out. You'll also find the link to buy my book, which is now out. It's called Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers, and it is a radical guide to falling completely in love with yourself. It talks about healing, about starting a new path on your growth journey, and so much more. But for now, let's get into it with the first question, which is, how do you let go of old relationships and old friends? When it comes to letting go of old people that we really cared about in our lives, it's all about understanding that people only come into our lives for a day, a week, a season, because that timeline suits the period of time in which they would serve and align to us, and then we always go our separate ways. And that is true for absolutely everybody and everybody that comes into their lives. There are going to be people that are only meant to meet you for a week, for a year, for 10 years, or for your entire lifetime. And you have to trust in the universe's and life's plan for you that nobody is ever going to leave you if they are not meant for you. Aside from that, I think letting go of relationships and friendships becomes increasingly hard when you don't get closure. Closure is such a big thing. And if maybe you got ghosted, things fizzled out, no one really did anything bad, you're not sure why someone who was so dear to you for so many years all of a sudden just isn't in your life anymore. I've definitely been there in a friendship scenario, and it was really, really difficult. And the way I made peace with it was, there is such a thing as falling out of frequency with another person. And this essentially just means that you two are not an energetic match any longer. And that is not your fault, and that is not their fault. And there is nothing you could have done to be better or be more worthy or deserving or make sure the situation could have worked out. In fact, the process of falling out of frequency with another person to the point where you are no longer a match is actually quite a beautiful scenario, because it is a representation of your growth. It means that you're constantly changing, and as you should. And even if you feel like you've stayed the exact same, that person is entitled to their growth and changing their mindset and what aligns to them. And while they might not have dealt with the ending as well as you would have hoped or as respectful as they should have, the leaving has nothing to do with you. It is not a personal attack. And letting go of people becomes increasingly hard when we take it as something personal. And I know that that can be easier said than done. So one mindset shift that I use, which has really helped me kind of stay detached in day-to-day life, has been, I am simply a character in the game of life, or my entire life is like a movie. And I honestly, I'm not just saying that to say it, I truly believe that. The entire planet in which we are living, the way that society is structured out, the life that we live, it does all seem like a game to me. We're all put on the same path. Some people reach higher heights, some people don't, some people fail, some people win. And even at 23 years old, I look back on my life and I look at all the different people that came in and out, the people that I used to cry over and be so upset about, and now I'm like, doesn't even faze me. I actually forgot what that person's name was, because my life has now changed so much since. So many new people are in my life now, so many new opportunities, that the past is so irrelevant. And I'm talking like 10 years ago. And I know you can relate. While you might be thinking about the past from 4 or 5 years ago, if you look back from a decade, you're not affected by that, right? So if you're not affected by that, the same cycle is just going to continue repeating. My life got so much easier and absolutely changed when I stopped looking at life as something that was happening to me, and instead, obviously, something that is happening for me, because that is a reflection of my abundance mindset, but also that I am here for a purpose, for a particular mission, to carry out what I'm supposed to achieve in this life. It could be something as big as winning a Nobel Prize. It could be something as wholesome and noble as becoming the best mother and raising somebody who has a really positive effect on the world. It could be to heal a generational curse in my family. Everybody's purpose is different. Some are bigger, some are smaller. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, we all have this mission. And I believe collectively our purpose is all to be happy. When you look at life from that bigger picture, where it's like, you know that you have been put on this earth to achieve a certain thing, to do a certain thing, to get to a certain place, to outgrow certain people, to move somewhere. Because of that mission that you are inevitably going to fulfill, there are going to be a set of challenges and obstacles that are going to be thrown your way in order to help you get there. That includes people coming to your life to teach you a lesson and then leaving, and then you needing to heal through heartbreak as well to learn the lessons and wisdom you need to become a stronger and more resilient individual. There's going to be times that you get a job and then you get fired from the job, and then that redirects you onto the path that you're meant to be to get to the next step of where you were actually supposed to be going. And that is just generally how I like to look at life, which helps me let go of old relationships and things that don't serve me anymore, because that is simply what they are. They came into my life, they served their purpose. What is meant for you is never going to miss you. It really links into having an abundance mindset, because I used to make the mistake of taking things personally and thinking that person didn't respect me enough, or I obviously valued them more than they value me. No. Life is always happening for you. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty of why that person left you and this and that, because also people don't come into your life to take and take and take from you and then do you really dirty and leave you in the mud. No. That person is just as complex as you are. They have so many other things going on in their lives that influences their decisions, their behaviors, where they go, what they value, what they start to dislike, all of that, just like you do. There are so many factors behind the scenes that you don't even see that is going on in their life, which is influencing them to make the decisions they make. And because of all of these different factors, it just goes to show it's never actually about you. People need to do what they need to do to get to where they need to be. Sometimes you might be collateral damage. I've been collateral damage, and that's that. But while they were doing what served them best in their life, it also reflects back onto us. And while us being collateral damage might hurt in the moment, we're actually getting so many lessons and so much wisdom from that it's actually a win-win scenario, even when things go bad, even when we have breakups. And I look at that now, and I've said to so many people in my life, I love breakups. I love them. You learn so much about it. I wouldn't have the list of standards I have now if it wasn't for all of the breakups I went through. And just from hearing everything I've said, can you start to feel a little bit of an energetic shift in you? That you start to look at things a little bit more positively? I'm not saying that it can't hurt. I'm not saying that you can't be sad about it and can't cry about it. I've been there. I will continue to do that when people I care about leave my life. But this is just about seeing the bigger picture and knowing there's nothing wrong with you. Your life isn't bad. This does not define you. This will not form your identity that people didn't stick with you. This was meant to happen. This links into the next question, which so many of you asked, which is, how do you detach from the past? And to be really vulnerable and honest with you guys, to this day, I still get flashbacks of all times in my life, maybe when I was younger, when I was in university, mistakes I made, bad situations I got myself into, which, gosh, I would never put myself in again. And I get these flashbacks of these memories, and I think, yeah, okay, they haunt me a little bit, because I'm like, oh, and I cringe a little bit at how I used to behave or what I used to get myself into and what I used to accept. But it doesn't bother me anymore. And I don't feel guilty about it anymore, because I went through it at that time when it was actually happening to me. You know, there's no point in reliving it out when that situation is no longer in your present. I went through the emotions that experience gave me. I learned from it. I moved on from it. I made new decisions, formed new standards, moved on from it, which then formed the person that I am today. I've already been through the entire experience and gained everything that experience was trying to give me. What's the point in trying to think about it now when there are so many things that are happening to me in my current life right now that are trying to give me those same lessons and that same wisdom and trying to move me on to the next level, just like that past experience was. And I know it can be hard, because naturally we all get flashbacks and we all have memories and nostalgia for past moments. But when you understand that in focusing more on that, you are forfeiting everything you could gain from the present moment, all of these memories that are being formed in your moment right now, you'll start to form the habit of shifting your focus back to the present. The past has absolutely nothing to do with you, and it is not a reflection of who you are. It was simply a stepping stone in getting to where you need to be. I also always look at the past in a funny way, where I'm like, what the hell did she know? What the hell did me 2 years ago know, actually? Because I have officially experienced more life than her, meaning my knowledge of life, of myself, of other people, of where I want to go is so much greater than her, that why would I have a reference back to her knowledge or her memories or what she wanted for her life when I am so much more experienced than her? And once again, it just goes back to the past is so irrelevant. I'm never going to gain anything from that. And I know this might be difficult if you are in a place in your life right now that you might not be entirely happy with. You don't like where you are, and therefore it's easier to look back on the past and think, if only I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be here right now. Or maybe I should have done something different and then I would have been more satisfied with where I am right now. And I know that that can be such a struggle, because you're like, why aren't things going right? And you don't know what the next direction is going to be. And there's not much for you to cling on to in terms of certainty. But this also links into detachment. There is no certainty in life ever. And even if you aren't completely okay with your current circumstances and you're starting to blame your past for that, this goes back to the abundance mindset. Although you might not know where you're going and that nothing is certain, first of all, there's so much happiness and so much hope in the fact that nothing's certain, because that means anything can happen. And second of all, even though those bad things happened in the past, and even if they've led you to an even worse scenario right now, it had to happen. And this is all working out in your favor. It's literally just that little abundant mindset shift that changes everything for you. And I think the most reassuring thing you can do for yourself is to visualize where you actually want to be and visualize your future self looking back on your past, on everything you've been through, all of the bad moments, and them being grateful for it. Them knowing that it was an inevitable step in getting them to this happy place where they were always meant to go. And it will start to help you gather more peace around accepting your past. The next question is how to deal with being misaligned with everyone around you. Girl, get out. Get out of there. There is nothing that should be making you stay in a place where you are misaligned to other people. And this is so funny because I was actually talking about this with a friend over dinner last night. And she said, I have all of these friends and I only see them, every few months. And when I see them, I was like, okay, guys, like what's going on? Everybody, I haven't seen you in 3 months. What's changed? And she was like, I was in such shock because nothing had changed in our lives and I had so much to share and I really felt like we were misaligned. And I left that interaction feeling a bit And I felt like maybe I should have felt happy or inspired or something. And she was really unsure about this desire of hers because maybe she felt like she was being selfish or too harsh. And I was like, no. Be selfish, be harsh. That is how you create the life of your dreams that actually serves you and makes you happy. What is the point in being friends with people if they don't bring any joy, if they don't bring any inspiration? I'm not saying that you should be friends with people to get something out of it. I'm saying that every interaction in your life should serve a purpose. Sometimes you're going to be left feeling inspired and joyous and it's going to influence your next step. Sometimes it's just the fact that you experienced a meaningful or fulfilling conversation and it's added a little bit of happiness into your day. And that's it. And a lot of people love to argue with this by saying not everybody needs to be inspired by everybody and not everything needs to serve a purpose. Sometimes you just need friends to just have fun with. Who said you can't have fun with the people that are inspiring you and giving you good conversation and actually aligning to your true path and life's purpose? Being in a situation where you're misaligned to everybody around you is so hard, and I really feel for you because I was stuck there for many, many, many years. And especially if you're in a situation when you don't really know where you're going to find the next person. I also know how much of a struggle that is because I was also there. And my top tips for this would be, 1, the number one priority is you need to start distancing yourself from the people that are misaligned to you. Of course, they're probably not bad people. They probably serve their time in your life. Maybe you've known them since school. They are really, really good people and you care about them. I'm not even saying you have to completely cut them off. That's completely up to you. I would say just reduce the amount of time that you spend with them. Because 1, this is really powerful in forming your true intention for life. So we already know your intention is to meet, for example, more like-minded, aligned women and have those as friends. But the more that you are spending time with people that are misaligned, you are communicating to the universe that you're okay with what you've got. And when you accept your current reality, how could you ever open a new door to another reality? Because you are signaling to the universe that I'm fine with what I've got. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to grow. I don't want this to change. You can say all you want about what you want to change, but that's not how manifestation works. Manifestation looks at where your energy is at and what you're doing. If you are constantly surrounding yourself in the wrong environment with the wrong people, the universe is going to keep giving you more and more and more of that. If you shift your energy and you shift your thought pattern and your behavior to get away from the people that don't match you, and yes, maybe you're going to be isolated for a little bit. Maybe you're going to have to focus on yourself and you are going to be a little bit lonely. And I say that because I had to go through that. What that shows the universe is you're not desperate. You're not chasing people that aren't meant for you. You are so completely content with yourself and so sure and certain on your life path that you're honing in on that then it will start to attract all of these new energies in your life in the form of people, things, and opportunities. A lot of people get really worried about, I need to go out and meet people, I should shoot my shot and I should go to networking events. By all means, do that. I do encourage that. I think if you want to meet like-minded people, find out what clubs, what events are near you, maybe even in a city next to you. However, if for whatever reason you can't do that, don't underestimate the power of your mind and of manifestation. Because I went through a period where I was lonely, I distanced myself from a lot of people, and I just put the intention out there that I will meet like-minded women. And I will not accept company that falls below the new standard I have set for myself. I will no longer engage in conversations that do not serve me, that do not leave me feeling inspired and happier. My best friend came into my life just randomly because we found each other on social media. And it was like the first proper person I had in my life where the conversation was aligned, the values were aligned and everything. And speaking of the friend that I had dinner with last night, this is somebody else, but she came to me and she said, I really want to find more like-minded people, right? Because she went to those friends and they said that nothing had gone on and she left the interaction feeling a bit meh. So she was like, I really don't know what to do. Like, how do you meet like-minded people? And I just really know that I want a different type of women like around me, girls who are more ambitious and have their own thing going on. How am I supposed to do that? And she seemed really stressed. And I looked at her and I said, you're doing it right now. We're at dinner right now. We've just met for the first time. I reached out to her and I was like, you don't have to do anything, but by understanding that that group of people didn't serve you, then putting out the intention that I want women that are X, Y, and Z, now we're here. I randomly reached out to you. How weird is that? Because the universe is giving you exactly what you're asking for. And she looked at me and she was like, oh my God, you're so right. And I was like, exactly. The next question was one for me personally. This person wanted to know, how do I, Tam, manage a lot of things at once? For example, YouTube, writing, events, podcast, and all of that. I get this question probably every single day, not only from you guys, but from people I know personally in my life. They're like, you have 3 YouTube channels. You upload every single day on other social media platforms. You have a podcast, you have a book. And they're like, how do you do it all? And sometimes I freeze a little bit because I'm like, how do I do it all? But I've really been thinking about how am I pulling this off? And this is what I found out. First of all, there is a massive amount of sacrifice that comes with managing all of these things. Don't get it twisted. I work more than I enjoy and experience life. Actually, I take that back because I gain so much enjoyment and so much happiness from the work that I do. I just mean I don't have time to just sit and do things and travel all of the time. But like I said, managing all of these things is only possible when you give up a little bit more of the percentage of your work-life balance. Number 2, I have a team that helps me. I am not a lone ranger. If I was, gosh, I would not be able to do any of this. I have an editor for all of my videos, which saves me an entire day of my week and my podcast. I have a videographer, which sets up all of the lighting and stuff here. I literally show up to the studio, sit down and record. I have a content assistant who does all of the guests for my podcast. We work on scripting every single piece of content together. I have managers, which make sure that I'm working with brands and deals with all of my emails and stuff from the back end that way. I cannot sit here and tell you guys that I do this all by myself because I have an amazing team of people behind me that does help. Having said that, yes, my schedule is still pretty much full. And the way that I manage that is, first of all, organization. My calendar is my absolute best friend. Every single Sunday, I look ahead of my week. I actually have a list of every single thing I balance because I kid you not, I forget a lot of the times. I'll be like, okay, I know I need to record a YouTube video, a podcast, a vlog, and I probably need to do this. And then, oh my God, yeah, I do that as well. Then, oh my God, I need to do that. That is going to happen. So I always have a list of these are all of the boxes I need to check this week. And I time block everything. Mondays are my sit down, writing, planning content days. I always use the same part of my brain because it allows me to flow in and out better. So Mondays, I'm just sitting down at home, writing, planning content. Tuesdays, I'm getting all of my filming done. I batch film all of my short form content, which is how I'm so consistent on posting every single day on Instagram and TikTok, because I'm filming it all in one go. Because when I wake up on Tuesdays, I know I'm in the mode now. I'm in stage mode. And then Wednesdays, I might be editing. And then Thursdays and Fridays, I'll be going to events and I'll be doing my other side hustles. It's truly all about planning it out in that way. Secondly, I always film videos in advance just so if my life changes or if all of a sudden I have more events to go to, I can edit videos a little bit later or I can change around my schedule because I film every single YouTube video 2 weeks before it actually comes out. Another thing that falls into this is learning when to say no to things. Yes, I go to events, but I probably go to 5% of the events that I'm actually invited to, because when you manage this much stuff, it's about learning what is going to add value and what is going to take away from your time and drain your energy. There are so many cool things I could go to, but I just think with every decision and every task I take on each day, is this actually going to significantly help me make progress in getting to the place I want to go? It's why, even with the few emails that I manage on my own that my managers don't see, I don't get back to every email. That is a habit that I actually stopped. I will not respond to every email because that time I would have spent 2 hours just on my inbox is better spent with me thinking of new series ideas for YouTube, thinking about how to level up the podcast, thinking about a new project to start, which is going to help me level up my income, my skill set, and my career. Another form of sacrifice is I actually cannot cook for myself anymore. I honestly do not have the time. I have a cleaner that comes to my apartment every single week because I don't have the time to do a deep clean every single week. I get meal delivery, which means I do not cook. I literally have ready meals that I pull out and eat every single day. That buys me so much of my time back. The next question is, how do you become a morning person? I absolutely love this question because I used to be such a night owl and I hated the mornings, and it's been such a journey to get to this point. And there are so many things I've learned on this journey. First of all, I need to shout out my favorite book, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. That changed my life, how I viewed mornings, the routine I set. I've spoken about this book so many times. Please read it because it will honestly inspire you. The actual lesson I've learned in my own experience has been your morning has to contain so much joy and excitement that it gets you out of bed. When my morning routine used to be, I need to get up, quickly go to the gym, eat breakfast, and then go to work. Or I'm going to get up at the last minute. I have to start getting ready, then I have to rush off to that event. You start dreading mornings. And also your brain starts associating mornings with stress, with rush, with so much overwhelm. But if you start the habit of waking up a little bit earlier, and what that means is getting up, making your bed, and having a little boogie to your favorite playlist. I'm not lying, I literally do that every single day. And then making your favorite matcha or going out to get your favorite coffee, moving your body in whatever way suits you, whether that be gym, a Pilates class, literally just a 20-minute walk. That's it, just a 20-minute walk where you're under the sun, where you get to listen to your favorite podcast, watch a YouTube video, text your friends back, be on a call to your best friend. All of a sudden, all of these healthy habits and all of this productivity that you had to do in the morning that was so scary turns into moments of joy. And there is nothing like that that's going to get you out of bed. Because think about it. It is not that you are not a morning person and you are allergic to waking up early in the morning. Because when you're sleep deprived, but you have a holiday in the morning you need to wake up for, you're there. You are definitely a morning person in the airport. You're a morning person when you're going to wake up early to go to a theme park with your friends, or it's a really exciting event you got that day. It's all lies into the mood you wake up with. I'm going to link the next two questions together. So somebody asked, how do you find your passion and purpose in both life and career? And somebody else asked, how do you find like the one career that you're supposed to have? And my biggest answer to this is, why are you thinking about it so hard? When we get so caught up in what is my purpose and what is my passion and what am I supposed to be doing and what is the one thing that I'm meant to do in this life, you are taking away from all the time that you could have been using and actually doing trial and error to find it. And I'm calling you out in this way because I wish I could have called out younger Tam on this. I was watching videos, how to find my purpose, how to find my passion, blah, blah, blah. And yes, there is content out there that could maybe inspire you and lead you on to the next step, but nothing is more powerful than just doing something. On the topic of finding your one career that you're meant for, I think personally, in my opinion, is an absolute waste of time because you are not going to stay the same person your entire life. So why should you have the same one meant for you career your entire life? You shouldn't. I am always the biggest believer that I think we can have multiple purposes, but I think the one purpose that every single person has is the purpose to be happy, to create as much joy, enjoyment, and a beautiful, aligned, happy, and fulfilling life in whatever capacity that means to you. Okay, that's going to look different for everybody. But if that's all our purpose is, then why do we have to attach ourselves to a certain job? I think if that's what our purpose is, then instead of thinking, what should the biggest picture of my life look like? Where should I be in 5 years? Stop wasting your time with that. And instead think, what do I want to do right now? And then what job can I get that's going to align with that? And this could link into a certain skill set you want to learn. Maybe you're in a part of your life where you're like, I really want to start being a people person. I want to network. Okay, why don't you go get a part-time job in PR? Or get a full-time job there, start organizing events, start your own agency if you want, and then see how that goes. Maybe it will take off and you'll realize this is always what you were meant to do and you'll end up doing it for the next few decades. Maybe you'll do it for a year, you'll learn so many different skills from it, and that will then inspire you and encourage you to then make your next decision. Because I promise you, with every little side hustle, hobby, internship, job that you take, it will teach you so much about yourself that you don't already know, and so much about the world and about the work you want to do, that it will help you actually figure out and actually get onto the path of what you are truly meant to do for an extended period of time, if that's your goal. Maybe your goal is, the thing that would make me happiest right now is I want to travel the world. Okay, why don't you do that? And why don't you teach English in different countries or whatever language you speak? Because why do we force ourselves into these little boxes of unhappiness where we're like, well, this job pays most, so I'm just going to do it? What kind of a life is that? If that is what you want to do because money means a lot to you, then by all means do it. But I know it isn't, because you're asking me what your purpose and passion is. And what that shows me is how you feel every day, and the life that you're creating means a lot to you. And so finding your one career is a waste of time. And I'll tell you a story. My friend, has been a very successful business owner since she was 17. She has I think it was a 7-figure business. She got investment from a literal billionaire, and she did that for 4 or 5 years, and now she's selling the business. And people have been asking her, why are you selling it? Like, that is your passion, that is your baby, and you love it so much. And she was like, yeah, I do. But who wants to keep their first job? That has been her response to everybody. And I love that answer because it's so true. She started when she was 17. She has so many other challenges to embark on and so many other experiences to have. Maybe she'll start another business. Maybe she'll quit business completely. I think that is the purpose of life, constantly changing and adapting and growing and seeing what you can try rather than sticking to one thing just because it works and being too scared to try anything else. Similarly, I have another friend in business. He is on his, I want to say 6th or 7th business right now. The first business he ever set up made him a millionaire. And he was like, on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And you might not be interested in business, but I think there is a really important lesson in that, which is don't try and put yourself into a box that you have to do one thing forever. To be really harsh with you as well, there is no such thing as asking, how do you find your passion, and then finding it. You find your passion by doing loads of different things. I feel so blessed that I have been working and trying out different things since I was 14 that led me to discovering that social media and video creation is my passion now. Having said that, I would not say that this is my one career. Even with all of the success I found in it, I don't think this is what I'm going to do forever. I think I'll probably change my mind. Who knows? I might change my mind tomorrow and quit everything. And I am willing enough to evolve and adapt enough to be able to make sure that I feel fulfilled and happy to be able to do that and give myself the freedom of doing that rather than staying in a career just because it's given me a level of success. Because I am abundant enough to know I could have 10 jobs over the next 3 years and still be happy and successful in every single one. All these things that you're good at might only serve you for a certain period of time, and it might be long or short. So my biggest piece of advice to you right now is do something. I know you have an idea of what you like and what your preferences are leaning towards or what inspires you or what makes you curious. Follow your curiosity. That is how you're going to lead a wonderful, exciting life when it comes to your career. A lot of people asked, how do I stay consistent on this journey? And one person asked, how do you stay consistent with building healthy habits? I work out 3 times a week and it's so hard. My biggest piece of advice with this is stop telling yourself that you are not a consistent person because you are consistently manifesting that same inconsistent result in your life over and over and over again by identifying as the type of person that finds it difficult to build consistent habits and cannot be consistent on this journey. You need to get yourself out of this mindset that I struggle with consistency and I can't do this, because your thoughts create your reality. And every single day that you're like, oh my God, it's going to be so hard to do this, guess what? It's going to be hard to do it. If you start identifying as the type of person that can effortlessly go to the gym every single morning because they know it's good for them, you'll find it a lot easier to do it. I promise you. I know it doesn't sound like it works, but it does. So many of us underestimate the power that our energy and our thoughts have on creating our life. And so much of the time we self-sabotage because we failed a few times in the past. And then we use that to form our entire identity of what we are then capable of. My second tip with consistency is you can't be consistent because you are placing yourself on too high expectations. You are expecting yourself to show up in the exact same way every single day, and that is absolutely impossible because you are a human being, you are not a robot. Consistency looks different for everybody every single day because we wake up with different thoughts, different moods, different energetic capacities, and we need to honor that instead. So what I've done to stay consistent is I have different routines based on different energetic levels I have. And I actually go into detail with this in my book, Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers, which is available to order worldwide on Amazon, by the way. And in a nutshell, what this means is you need to have one routine for your tired day, one routine on your ideal perfect day when you are high energy, and one routine maybe on your sick day or your unmotivated day. And this is going to look different for everybody. But in the book, I kind of write out what mine looks like. And for you, it might be on your perfect day, you wake up at 6 a.m., you go to the gym for an hour. Right after, you'll have a green shake, you'll get on a call, you'll read a book, you'll meditate, and you'll journal. You'll do all of these things. But guess what? Waking up the next day and being tired and then deciding, actually, I need the sleep and I need the rest. Because also as women, our hormonal levels are changing all of the time. And sometimes we need more rest in different phases of our cycle than we needed a few days ago. So instead you realize, okay, I'm going to wake up at 8 a.m. instead. And I'm feeling a bit crampy. So I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm going to go on a 20-minute walk because I'm really tired. Afterwards, I'm going to journal. Then I'm going to start my day. That is also you being consistent. Consistency is about you showing up for yourself, not doing the same task for the same amount of time in the exact same order every single day like you're some robot. You're being so mean and so harsh to yourself, and we're not about that over here. Because even on your tired days, when you have a lower energy and you're then doing fewer habits than usual, you are still showing up in your 100% capacity, because you are showing up in the energetic level you had that day, which is your 100%. My biggest tip is stop getting so worried about how do I stay consistent on this journey? How do I do this? How do I do that? And instead do it. I'm telling you, there's so much magic and there's so much wisdom and lessons in doing it every single day, being open to failure, doing it imperfectly, and then learning where you fall down and where you win. I'm always the biggest believer, there is no better life coach for you than yourself, because nobody knows you better than yourself. Nobody's lived every single second of your life. Nobody experiences every single thought in your brain. Nobody knows your life inside and out and all of the external factors and things that influence it. So if you just go ahead with your week and you get out the question of how am I going to be consistent? What if I'm not? To I'm going to try my best every single day. Oh, I made a mistake. I failed. I was lazy. I didn't get out of bed. Why? What caused that? Was I not getting enough sleep? Was I stressed when I went to bed? Did I not have enough enjoyment in the mornings? Am I not romanticizing my life? Do I not have a work-life balance? It's all of these things that you start to assess. And I would also say, if you want to take it a step further, journal about it. I go back and reread my old journal entries so often because there's so many lessons in that. I was reading it a while ago, and I realized that I wasn't showing up in my life currently in the way that I should, because last year I was going so much harder. And just by reading that old entry, I learned so many things about habits that I should be incorporating into my life now, because I was happier then and I was more successful then. If I didn't journal about that, I would have completely forgotten about it, and I would have been going through my life like, why am I not consistent? And why can I not focus? And why am I so lost? Please document your journey. You will find every single answer just by paying attention to why you do certain things. And now we have our last question, which is more of a recommendation-based question, which is, what podcasts or books do you read for your development? Now, if this is a question for me personally, then I would say it's a very broad question and it changes constantly. There are so many different types of books that I've read at different parts of my journey that have influenced me in different ways. However, the way that I go about reading now isn't about I'm struggling with this thing, so I'm going to go out and buy the book on it. I'm actually living more right now in this season of my life, it might change, to I am my own biggest life coach and I know how to solve my own problems. Reading for me is more of an enjoyment. Yes, I do only read self-help books, but now I go out and I buy books that intrigue me. Either they were recommended to me, or I'll literally wander into a bookstore and I'll see what looks interesting and I'll pick that up because I'll be reading through the chapters. Back a few years ago when I was in the beginning of my self-development journey, I was more so looking at things that I needed to fix about myself. So I was picking up books about confidence. I was picking up books about business. I would say, if you want actual recommendations from me, when I was looking more so at business books, because that's what I needed help in at that point of my life, the 4-Hour Work Week absolutely changed me. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I'm sure you've all heard of, completely altered the way I looked at money. When I was a night owl who didn't know how to wake up early in the morning and I needed some sort of routine, Miracle Morning, I bought, absolutely changed my life. If you guys want to know what I'm reading at the moment, I actually just ordered 2 books on Amazon last night. One is called F Being Humble by Stephanie Sword Williamson. My friend recommended this. She posted it on her story, like a little page, and it looked so good and it just intrigued me. And I thought, I'm going to have an enjoyable read out of that and it might influence my mindset for the better. So I ordered that, and I also ordered a book called The Weekend Millionaire because, that's actually a great answer, because the one thing I'm working towards right now is becoming a millionaire, and I know I'm going to do it. It's literally just a matter of when. So I would actually say the more books I'm reading for my development now are more centered around finances, financial abundance. The book that I actually just finished was called We Should All Be Millionaires. That was great. And I would actually really recommend that if you're a woman who goes through people pleasing, who wants to know how to outsource her life, who wants to know how to take her business to the next level. Some of my all-time favorite books that I recommend to absolutely everybody would be The Courage to Be Disliked, The Daily Stoic. I listened to On Purpose by Jay Shetty, Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. That inspired me a lot, especially when I was in a time of my life where I wanted to be around people who inspired me and motivated me to get to the next level and kind of get out of what a normal life looked like, because I knew I didn't want that. That inspired me because there's so many different people that come on and talk about their experiences. I listen to Girls That Invest, the podcast, a lot as well, because I'm not an investing pro. So that kind of keeps me up to date with my knowledge as well. But the reason that I can only name those as my favorite podcast is because I don't find one certain podcast and listen to every episode. Sometimes when I want to listen to a podcast, I type in the subjects that I want to learn about. Maybe it's on my vision board, maybe it was on my list of goals. And then I listen to whatever episodes come up about that and then listen to those that way. So I highly recommend you guys do that as well. And that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did and you're on YouTube, please comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're listening on audio right now, please give us a follow or shoot us a DM on our Instagram at Self-Obsessed Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. I can't believe we are officially halfway through season 3. Time is flying by. I can't believe it. I just want to say I appreciate you guys so much. I would love to know what you thought of this episode, what questions helped you, what answers helped you. And also always feel free to DM me on Instagram at tamkaur, letting me know what episode ideas or topics you want me to discuss, because I always write them down and then come up with a content schedule according to your girls' needs. Thank you so much. Have the best week. I'll see you guys same time next week on Wednesday for a brand new episode. Bye.